to dreams.
Dreams.
Dreams. This is Aaron and Bailey.
I'm Aaron.
I'm Bailey.
How can we tell that you're Aaron? Is there like a way for us to remember that?
Yeah, so I actually have this little thing. My hair. It's a different color than your guys's.
Oh,
So just remember that A is associated with blonde. So that's how you can remember that I'm Aaron.
That's a good reminder, because I was wondering if there was like some way we could remember that. There was nothing, so
Yeah.
it's good. Oh yeah. Tell us your most fearful nightmare, Aaron.
So the dream I remember having the most.
Yo, there's a deer right there. It's gonna come eat the camera.
That's sick.
Just takes out your
Yeah, just walks over as soon as we start and grabs the camera.
Hey, dear.
It's running.
All right, tell us your dreams. Tell us what haunts you.
So from my childhood, there's really one dream I remember having multiple times kind of vividly. I don't quite know what it means. You could definitely classify it as a nightmare. But when I was a kid, my brother and I would have this bunk bed that we shared, and there's like this little hole in the back you can crawl under. And so in this dream, I think I had it for the first time when I was 4. We were just in my living room, and there are a bunch of dinosaurs in the living room. Like 2, 3 dinosaurs. I don't remember the specific types, but they were there, and I was like terrified of dinosaurs, as 4-year-olds are. And I just remember we had some family friends, and they were superheroes.
Okay.
And they were supposedly the ones who were going to protect us from the dinosaurs. But I just remember being in the living room, terrified, scared, sprinting up to my bedroom, and then crawling behind, like underneath the bed, the bunk bed, in like the little gap. And I just remember hiding in there, being like, I'll be safe from the dinosaurs, they won't find me here. And then every single time, a T-Rex would walk into my bedroom.
Is this real?
This is
Are
real.
you making?
No,
Dude,
this is
dude.
real. I would make eye contact with the T-Rex.
Oh my God.
It would like growl, and then I would wake up.
That's crazy.
And so that's
Serious.
definitely my most vivid dream that I remember.
And you'd have it over and over again.
I had it 3, 4 times,
Okay.
maybe from the ages of 4 to 8.
So your family friends were the superheroes who you expected to protect you from the dinosaurs.
Correct.
And you would run to your bunk bed, and they were supposed to be like fending off the dinosaurs downstairs.
Right,
You were
like they
hoping
had
they
like
would.
superpowers. They were in like capes.
Okay.
They could like fly. Just like a very stereotypical idea of like a superhero. Not like replicating one, like a specific one, but they were superheroes.
Damn, bro.
Yeah.
That's deep.
All right, Bailey, interpret it.
How much did you feel like your mother loved you growing up?
Quite a bit.
Okay.
Did you feel like your dad would protect you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got nothing. That sounds.
Yeah.
Why was it
Normal
dinosaurs
childhood.
specifically?
Did you watch Jurassic Park a lot?
No, but there was
Yeah.
one movie, I forget what it was called, it was like animated dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs?
Land Before Time.
No,
Yeah, I think
dinosaurs.
so,
Yeah.
yeah. I've watched that multiple times.
That's probably why.
Luke, my brother, used to memorize the Land Before Time movies. He had them all as a child. He was like a very smart child. He remembered everything, and he would recite the Land Before Time movies. Yeah.
How far could he get through?
Literally the entire movie.
No way.
Yeah.
Every
no.
every character?
Yeah, no, he literally had the script memorized.
That's insane.
I don't even remember them very clearly, but I used to watch those movies a lot as a kid. But
That's
is
sick.
there a moment that you felt like you became afraid of dinosaurs, or like you came to view them? Like, what was your psychological relationship with dinosaurs, and how did you view them as a child?
I don't remember if there's one specific moment where I grew afraid of them. I feel like just the way they're portrayed in the media and like when you learn about them in school, like they're not supposed to be your friends, you know?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and it would probably just be whenever I watched that movie, I would have that nightmare that night.
Okay. That's fascinating stuff. What do you got?
What's your worst nightmare as a kid?
Yeah.
I already told Saya this, but I had to take this like purple medicine for something. I don't even remember. And it like was like the consistency of cough syrup.
It was lean.
It was lean.
And I hated it. It tasted so bad, and I would like cry every time I had to take it. My mom had to like force feed it to me. And
Is this the dream or real life?
this is real life.
Okay.
This is context.
Okay.
Then I started having this dream where these guys in like black cloaks with hoods would start approaching my house in like a gigantic group from like my mailboxes to my backyard, and like my whole family would be sleeping and stuff, and I would like run to the window and be like, they're coming, and I would try to wake everyone up in a panic, and like I was begging my parents to get in the car and like drive us away because that's like the only thing that felt safe, and no one would wake up and no one would do anything, and the guys would just get closer and closer, and then I would wake up, and I kept having that until I was like in like middle school.
Interesting. Ours are similar in that it would be the entire preview
Build
to
up.
when build up until something bad would happen, and then right when that was about to happen, you would wake up.
Yeah.
Did it ever, so like both of you guys said that they were repeating dreams, did it, do you ever have a variation when it didn't happen, like when they showed up and you had to confront it?
What was that?
Was there ever a variation of it where like the dinosaurs did break in and they like beat you or something like that, and like they actually had a different ending? You always
No.
wake up and
I
say,
actually
No.
did have a variation. I had this other dream, and it was similar in like the like terror part of it, where like someone's like coming to my house to like do something bad to me, and like I think I had this dream of like this random dude who was probably like a serial killer or something, was like trying to come to my house, and I was like once again begging like my mom to like get in the car and like drive us away, or I'm trying to like get in the car and drive away,
Yeah.
but it's like there's never enough time, and like that person always is gonna end up getting there before I can go away.
Did you guys have dreams as kids when you were driving?
Where I specifically was
As
driving.
a child, like I used to have those dreams a lot. Where
No.
I was a kid before I knew how to drive, and I would have to drive for some reason, and then I would like not know how to do it. Like it would be like a situation like that where I was trying to escape from something, and then I would have to drive, and I would like be doing it like just driving like a kid would, where I was like going super fast, and then like get a crash or something. And then it like later, when I was like getting my permit and starting to drive, when I would be falling asleep, like literally every night when I was on like the verge, like the space between asleep and awake, where you can kind of start to have dreams that are like sort of dreamlike. You can like, yeah, I would be driving in those, and it would just be like super ordinary. Just me driving, like trying to calculate what to do and stuff. Like I feel like it was just like my brain trying to learn how to drive. Like then I would start to realize, because it was so repetitive, I started to recognize when I was in those dreams, and then I would just stop looking to my left and my right and just step on the gas and just like tune out my peripheral vision, and like all of the lights would turn green immediately and nothing would happen as far as the sides. Like I would just know that nothing was going to come in, so I would just start zooming, and then I would like transition into another dream or wake up. Usually I would just recognize and wake up, but I would realize when I was dreaming and then just step on the gas.
Interesting. Was it only in that context where you could control your dreams when you were driving, or was that something that would happen every night?
I don't lucid dream every night, but I've lucid dreamed a few times. Like I had a similar sort of. It's very weird. My like variation of the like same that like they're coming and like your parents are supposed to protect you and like they don't. So it'd be like there was this like evil woman who was all like a reoccurring dream character. And as a child, I was like insanely. This is the funny part. I was like insanely ticklish as a child, to the point where like me and my brothers would be like wrestling with my dad, and he would start like tickling us. And I was so ticklish that I would like go in like paralysis, basically. So like I couldn't like defend myself or fight or anything. So like that would like freak me out. I would be like saying like stop. So like in the dream, this evil woman who was surrounded by her like cloaked black goons. Would like she would come into a bunch of different dream spaces. Like the dream wasn't always the same, but I would just be in like a place. Like I remember specifically one of them. I was at this like fancy ball sort of that was all like red and like super fancy, and it was like a big event in a big building. And then I like kind of felt the air get cold around me. And then I like turned and she was like coming down the staircase. She was like a psychedelic type character. Like she was like wearing this like weird psychedelic like leopard coat and like some weird glasses maybe, and just had like a demonic aura sort of. And so like she would show up and like I would freak out when I would see her. And then she like her black goons would come pin me down. Usually I would freeze, and then her black goons would come pin me down. And like my parents would either the black goons would like beat up my dad, so like he would try to. Usually my parents would just watch, which is like not at all what they would do in real life, but in the dreams they would just like watch while this happens. But in some of them my dad would try to fight them and the black goons would just beat the hell out of him. And then they would like pin me down and she would tickle me. Like I would literally freeze up and she would tickle me and I would be frozen, and then I would be in like this paralysis while like the dudes in like black cloaks would like take me off. They would just like kidnap me, and I would be gone. But then in this ballroom one, when I saw her, like I was familiar enough with the dream pattern, and I think in that one, when I saw her and I was like in this situation, I knew for a fact I was dreaming, and I think she was like taunting me about it. She was like, "You're in a dream you can't get out of," and like I was trying to wake myself up and I couldn't. And then after that, I was like, I started just opening and closing my eyes really hard. I think that's how I woke myself up eventually from that one, was like just doing like this in the dream until I actually put my eyes open. Yeah, it's crazy. And then I've had some other lucid dreams where like only a few times where I realized I was dreaming and then flew around, or like I feel like there's some things you can do and some things you can't do in a lucid dream. But I had a very funny one recently, like a few years ago, where I think I've told you guys about the story where we got trapped in the elevator, right? We got like trapped in the elevator for a few hours, and it was like a tiny elevator. And then a few weeks after that, I had this dream where in the dream my parents were like super rich and had this penthouse that was like gigantic. It was like this huge glass tower, and I was with the same people I was with in the elevator with originally in the dream, and we got in the elevator and it starts like shooting up and down. So it was like falling upward at first, so it was like we were falling, but it was pointed up, and then we collapsed onto the ceiling. And then it would like stop, and we'd collapse back onto the ground. The doors would come open and shut.
Like the
really
ride at Disneyland?
Yeah, it was like exactly like that. And then, yeah, so we were like, it would have killed us instantly, like all of the stuff that was happening in real life. But we like went up to the top, like slammed onto the ceiling, and then it stopped really hard. We slammed onto the ground. The doors came open and shut really quickly, like as if to taunt us. And then it would do it again. And like that kept happening. It just like kept repeating for a while. The doors would just be like collapsed on the ground, and then the doors would open and close really quickly. And then eventually I was like, I shoved my body in the doors when they were open, and everyone was like crawling over me, and then we like collapsed on the ground. And then after that, we were like I was with a different group of people after that. I was with you and like all the boys from high school. And we were like in the top part of the penthouse that in the dream was like my parents, and they weren't there, and we were like throwing a party there. And as I was walking through there, I was thinking about what had just happened in the elevator, and I realized that I was dreaming, because I was like, that would have killed me instantly, and elevators don't fall upward. So like I realized I was dreaming, and then went over to Gabe, and I was like, yo, I just realized that this is a dream. And he was like, no way. And everything in... so then we started running around telling you guys. We like told all of you guys that we were in a dream, and you guys all got super pumped. And then everything in the penthouse was made of glass, and we started smashing everything. We were literally just running around smashing everything on the ground and getting super hyped. And then...
Classic boy moment.
Yeah, for real. And then... I went out to smoke in the garden, and there was like this spanning rooftop garden that was like absolutely huge and multi-level, and I went out there by myself to smoke. And as I was smoking, I like looked at my cig, and I was like, I wouldn't need to smoke in a dream. I'm actually awake right now. It was like the way it was smoking, I was like, it feels like I have like the need to smoke it, and it's like hitting the receptors, and just like all of the sensations are here, like I'm awake. So then I became convinced that I was awake, that I thought I was dreaming, and we had broken everything. So I came in and told Gabe, and he was like, I was like, yo, Gabe, this is not a dream. And he was like, no. And then we came over to you guys and told you it wasn't a dream, and I think we had like a long argument. Like me and Gabe were trying to convince you that we were awake, and like you and Nick and Alec were like, no, this is definitely a dream.
We just continue to break all the glass.
Yeah, you keep right. Alex starts levitating. We're like, nah, you could have done that.
Yeah.
I don't remember if that had an end, but...
Wait, the Tickle one, did you ever watch that VeggieTales? Did you watch VeggieTales that was growing up?
Yeah.
You know the Tickle monster?
Yo!
Black Cloak?
That probably was like the
and
origin of
like
it. I actually don't really remember
came
that.
From,
That's the Esther story?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Black Cloak?
Yeah, that shit was so terrifying. Like...
Yeah.
I hadn't, like, I don't really remember the Tickle monster.
I don't remember
what he is.
He would come out of like the shadows to punish people by tickling them, and he was in this like all black cloak. You couldn't see his face. He would like emerge and like come in and start like tickling people, and then they would be like screaming as like they're leaving.
That's crazy. That's definitely got to be its origin. That's wild.
Yeah.
Dang.
That's crazy. That is some wild dreams. Yeah, I've only ever had one lucid dream. And it was just one moment. And I don't remember any of the context, but I was just standing in the middle of the road, and there was a car just coming right at me, and I'm like, I'm gonna die here. And then I remembered it was a dream, so I just like made it just like move over like 10 feet and just go by me, and then I woke up.
Dang.
So that's literally the one lucid dream I've had.
That's crazy. I feel when I'm awake and I'm wondering if I'm dreaming, it's like I try to. Supposedly you can't mess with light levels if you're in a dream.
Like you can't turn off lights.
You can't turn
light
lights
switches
on and
don't
off.
work. Yeah.
But like, there's a ton of stuff you can do. Like you can manifest people. Like if you're like have this person come around this corner, you can do that.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Or like float or levitate or fly or something like that. But you can't adjust light levels. So it's like, but I feel like you are also. I think your mind doesn't like make a correct representation of your body, so you can like look at your hands and see if they look like they should, and it's like you'll have like extra fingers or something like that.
I have no memory of ever looking at myself in any dream or seeing myself.
Yeah.
Like never look in a mirror, never look at like my hands or my legs.
I've heard you're not supposed to be able to read in a dream because it's like your right brain is active, and not your. But I've read it in dreams, so.
Yeah, that could just be BS. I don't know, I don't read in dreams.
The light thing might be BS too. Do you say you don't believe in dreams?
No, I don't read in dreams.
Oh, yeah.
I don't remember ever reading.
Yeah.
I should really keep a dream journal because I have so many lucid dreams.
That's
I can't think of any right now.
That's so
like
lucky.
One.
That's fire. What do you do once you realize you're dreaming?
I do remember, like, trying to read one time, and I couldn't, like, make out the words.
You was talking about bubbles.
Honestly, I thought I had, like, sleep paralysis for a while, because, like, sometimes, like, I'll, like, fully, like, wake up, but I, like, can't move my body, and, like, slowly, like, stuff will, like, start to, like, disappear. Like, I used to have, like, really, like, scary, like, night terrors of, like, spiders, like, in my room, and I would open my eyes and, like, see them and, like, scream, but I was, like, still dreaming, or, like, I thought I was, but I also knew I was awake, but I couldn't move my body. Anyway.
Yeah, that would happen to me where I would wake up in the middle of the night, like mid-dream, but I'd be like awake,
Yeah.
and I'd still think I was in the dream.
Dude, it's so
I remember having like dreams of specific people in my life, and like being like, why are they in my room right now?
Yeah.
And then just like not moving at all, and eventually falling back to sleep.
Literally.
I would have those dreams. Like one time, that one like evil dream character killed me, and then I like experienced death for like in the dream. I just like felt my vision go black and like start to transform, and then I woke up and like my parents were cooking breakfast downstairs, and I like walked downstairs, and then they busted through my door again and killed me again. It was like a second layer of the dream.
You got killed twice.
Yeah, back to back.
That's tough.
For real.
You gotta level up in your dreams.
For real, bro.
I could never run in my dreams. That would happen all the
Yeah.
time. I would like never be able to run, and it would always feel like, you know, like you're running underwater and like you're pushing, but like your legs are just moving so slowly. It was always that.
Yeah.
Like I remember, I was
or like not be able to speak or scream.
yeah, similar stuff. Like I remember, I was definitely afraid of tornadoes when I was a kid. Like that was like my number one fear was tornadoes, because I used to watch documentaries on storm chasers. And I was like, damn, if I ever run into a tornado, I'm screwed. And so I would have a dream where there'd be like 7 tornadoes in the city, and I would have to like run to a building to get to the basement. And I would just never be able to move at all. And it was like literally would make me more angry than anything else, just not being able to run.
Yeah.
Or like falling dreams where like you can feel
Yeah.
yourself falling.
And then it's like you hit the ground and you wake up in bed and you feel like you actually took the fall damage.
Literally.
Yeah.
Like your spine is seizing up.
Yeah.
Or like you have that feeling in your stomach, like when you
Yeah.
got to the drop of like a roller coaster. Like I would always have that.
I had this recent dream. I told Bailey, but I don't think I told you. It was like I was in the woods with a group of people I don't know in real life. We were like camping, and this baby bear comes over a hill in front of us, and like as soon as I saw it, I was just like, this is about to be bad. And then they were all running toward the baby bear, and I was like yelling at them to stop, and they weren't listening. And then like as expected, its like mom comes over the hill after it, and in the dream it was like a dream bear where it was like way bigger than a bear should be, and it was like kind of grayish brown. And then it comes, I think it just walked directly up to me and was like towering down over it.
That's crazy.
I think it was towering down on me, and then I pulled out a knife and started gutting the hell out of it.
Oh my God.
I stabbed it so many times, and I was like ripping down as I was stabbing it. And then
Did it die?
no, so I stabbed it a ton of times, and I was ripping down, and then it like slashes me. It's like starts falling down, and slashes me super deep in my chest as it's falling down. And then
Go on.
impressively, it slashes me super hard in the chest as it's falling down. And then, so me and the bear are just lying side by side, like bleeding out, staring into each other's eyes type. And
Real
then,
romantic.
It was very romantic. And then the people I was with come over to me, and they're like, "Why did you hurt the bear?" They start yelling at me about hurting the bear, and then I was like literally laying there bleeding out, like on the verge of death, and they were just yelling at me about like, "Why did you hurt the bear?" And I was like, "What's going on right now?" And then an ambulance pulls up, and when I see the glowing lights in the ambulance, I'm like, "Oh, thank God, they're gonna save me." And then the ambulance workers come over, look down at me, and they're like, "Why did you hurt that bear?" And then they take the bear, they put it on the stretcher, load it into the ambulance, and drive away. I think the people in my group also left with the ambulance and the bear. And then I was just walking through the woods, like bleeding out, like half conscious, like trying to stay conscious to get to this parking lot.
Yeah.
And then I got to the parking lot and found just a random group of people who were like in a car, and just like stumbled over to them, and I was like, "Yo, I just got attacked by a bear. Can you guys like get me right to the hospital?" They were like, "Sure, dude."
They weren't questioning if the bear was all right?
No, they didn't really care about it, but they were also so casual. I was just like, the entire conversation was really casual. I just like casually was like, "I just got attacked by a bear. Can I have a ride to the hospital?" They were like, "Sure, bro." And then I hop in the car and we just start driving, and then I woke up. That was very weird.
My favorite part of that is them putting the bear on the stretcher.
Yeah, same. They just load, they come and scold me for hurting it, and then they grab the bear, load it up.
Bear on the stretcher. That's awesome.
I wonder if that bear was okay.
Yeah. I'm worried about the bear.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. That's so funny. That's so funny. I would always have dreams, like specifically in high school or middle school as well, where like let's say I had like a big like presentation to do the next day in one of my classes, and like I didn't want to do it, or I was like nervous about it. I would always wake up, and then I would like do that thing where you fall back asleep after you wake up and sleep for like 15 more minutes. But I would always dream that like I did the presentation, and then I would like feel this like enormous amount of relief. I'd be like, all right, I did it, I did well. And then I would wake up again and be like, oh, that was just a dream. And it would happen like 3 times before I fully woke up. And so I would have like 3 different memories of me doing a presentation, just like slightly different ways.
Bro, that sounds like good practice.
It does,
Yeah, maybe it helped, maybe it didn't, but like I just remember I would be in the shower that morning and just be raging about like, because I would have this like such change of emotions where I'd be like super nervous, and then I would be relieved, and then I would go back to nervous and like dread. It was horrible.
Oh yeah. Yo, try to hold that way. Never mind. Try to catch it. Let's see how long we can pass it around. I have this very common dream, like, I don't know what to call it, just like, dynamic where I'll find a, it'll be like a hidden passageway, like in the back of the closet, or, like in some hole in a tree, or something like that. It's like some like Lion Witch in the Wardrobe type where you're like pushing through the end of like some like enclosed space or something. Alright.
No! Go on.
I'm just trying to get a big bubble. Pushing through the end of some enclosed space, or some like trash, like it could be like through a porta potty, like you dive in, and it's like I'd wake up in like a labyrinth that was just like endless dark hallways that would, I feel like they would bend in all 3 dimensions. Like there would be like you'd be walking and then you turn up and be walking upward, and gravity would shift and always be below you. So like I've had this dream a lot of times, like sometimes with you guys or with other people. Like one time recently, I had one where we were at like the high school, and we like found an entrance through like a locker, I think, into this just like underground labyrinth. And we'll be like going through, I think the first time I had it, I was like really little, and it was through this closet in my house that I accessed the space, and it felt like it was like the underworld. Like I think my dead great grandma, I like saw her down there, and she was like the only person I had known who had died at that point. And so like I felt like it was like the underworld, like I was going through this like endless labyrinth, like navigating this like weird dimensional space. And in this one, I came to a door that was like guarded by, I like walked into this little concrete room that was all dark, and there was either one or two like entities in there that were like not human. They were like some sort of, I don't know, they seemed more like demonic than angelic, but I don't know what they were. And it was like they asked me some question that I don't remember, and I answered it, and then they like gave me passage past it, like they were like guarding a door, and then I walked through, and it was like, have you guys seen Monsters Inc?
Yeah.
The final, or just like towards the end where they come to all of the doorways that are like, it's like that gigantic expanse of doorways that all lead somewhere. That's like the closest thing I can compare to it, because it was like more than 3 dimensions, and it was like this gigantic, it was the most vast thing I've ever seen by far. Like, it made me extremely like nauseous to look at it. And how does this work?
I think it's broken.
Okay.
Something's probably supposed to go on that screw.
Yeah. And it was like every point, it was like a bigger expanse than you can even conceptualize in 3 dimensions. Like, I think some people say that like DMT is released by your pineal gland when you're in REM sleep, so like you can have these really weird higher dimensional experiences sometimes. And it was like, this was like just a massive expanse with like all the colors and more colors, and it was like every point in it was like a fractal where like every point in it held a universe inside of it. So like you could see the tiny points, and those points were like doorways into a universe, and it was all like folded into this object. But that was like a one-time thing. Like the other times we've been in the labyrinth, there have been like demons or like some type of, like, I think in the one where we entered it through the high school locker, we were like, there was like some type of demon who we knew was down there, and we were like running from. Yeah, it was crazy stuff.
That is wild.
Yeah.
How often would you guys have nightmares as a kid? Was it like most nights, rarely?
I would have nightmares a ton. I still have nightmares, but like I would
Really?
have a ton as a kid.
Are they always related to something currently going on in your life, or would they just be completely unrelated?
I feel like sometimes they're related to something like I'm trying to process, like it could have happened a long time ago, and sometimes they're trying to like initiate that process, maybe.
Interesting.
But I don't really know.
Subconsciously, something you've like put down, but like in reality, you need to get over.
Yeah, or it could just be something that doesn't make any sense to me. Like sometimes I can't interpret them,
Yeah.
and then later, it's like I feel like a lot of times my dreams will sort of like come true in ways that like I understand after the fact what it represented. It's like they can kind of become self-fulfilling prophecies if they become like a major psychological force. They can sort of like end up happening.
Dude, that happened to me. This one guy I dated in college, I had like a dream about him before I had ever met him, and it was like him, like to a T. Like it was like an exact description of him.
Shit.
And we had this like really like intense, like it was like a really intense dream of like, and I like felt like super like emotional and all of it. And then I woke up and I was like, what the hell? And then I met him like a year later.
Did you
And it, like, all
immediately
played
recognize
out.
him from the dream?
Yeah.
Dang.
I was like, what the hell? And
So did
then-
the dream feel like a good or bad omen, or it was just like,
It felt like both. Like, I think it was like up to interpretation because, like, to me, I was like, oh, like it felt like we were like it was like on a really emotional bond, but it didn't end well. Like we ended up like going separate ways, but it was like really like sad for both of us, and like that's kind of like what happened in real life. But yeah, those dreams are crazy.
As well.
I feel like most of like I don't really get like nightmares a lot, but I do get like a lot of dreams where like I'm processing a lot of like stuff that's like that's been like difficult to understand. Yeah, but I don't get like scary dreams of like dinosaurs anymore.
You're lucky.